The strange thing about the message was that it was in English. The carving looked entirely authentic, meaning that a caveman, if you'll pardon the pun, had created it. I found it impossible that the same person could have scrawled the 5 words below the picture. Behind me, Alex read it out loud. The jackal and the cave. How strange, he said. Indeed, that was the message, written entirely in capital. I dismissed the painting and turned back to the main path. It was obviously a hoax. There was no way a caveman could write in any script, let alone in English. Possibly some kid mucking around in days long past. But it still made me uneasy, regardless of what I assumed it to be. If it was a hoax, then why did it look so fucking authentic? Eventually the 4 of us had had our fill of the jackal and the cave, and after Ashley had snapped a photo of it for a keepsake, we continued into the cave. I was forced to light 2 flares at a time now, to ward off the choking darkness. The diminishing effectiveness of the flares puzzled me. In all my time spelunking, I had never encountered anything like it. I wondered whether it was a defective bunch or some other reason. It had to have a logical, rational reason. Behind me, Alex and Samantha were still locked in conversation. I picked up snatches of the heated debate as we walked. They, like me, were still pondering the origin of the admittedly ominous cave drawing. I wished they'd drop it already, or at least quieten down. I looked to my right, saw nothing but a sloping cave wall, and looked away, back to the trail. I froze, and turned. There, among the rock that I had just glanced at, was another carving. I felt sick as I hurried over to it. The red glow of the flares flickered on the wall, dancing over the picture, making it look demonic under the sparse light. It depicted a scene much like the last, except there were only 2 bodies on the floor. The third was in mid-air, seemingly held by an appendage, not quite an arm, not quite a tentacle, from the titular jackal. The pillars around the scene appeared again, except with small, indistinct etching on them. Like before, only the faint outline of the jackal appeared, the rest of it having been scribbled or scratched, I couldn't tell which, out. Underneath was another 5-word message, one that I read quickly and immediately wished that I hadn't. Go back. The jackal waits, it said. I turned from the carving as the others moved in to get a good look and tried not to panic. The air felt thin and dry, much like the air in the Andes. I'd gone climbing there a few years ago, and terrible things had happened, which explained my preference for underground rocks as opposed to aerial ones. But that's another story for another day and another time. Around me, the darkness was thick. I could no longer see without the flares in aid. Suddenly, irrationally, I knew if I stayed in this underground labyrinth for much longer, I would lose my sanity. But that was the mind of an irrational man talking. I leant against the opposite wall, breathing deeply and slowly to regulate my rapid heartbeat. Spots danced in front of my eyes momentarily as I oxygenated my blood rapidly. Slowly, the panic faded, to be replaced by a sense of calm. I didn't get overworked often, but when I did, I tended to edge towards hysteria. Taking one last deep breath, I straightened and looked around. That's when I realized Ashley was gone.